Hey there, fellow listeners. It's Red here from Red Hunt, ready to dive into the juiciest relationship stories shared on Reddit. So grab your popcorn and prepare for a roller coaster of love, heartbreak, and hilarious encounters. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for wanting my boyfriend to get a job? So I, a 33-year-old female, have been dating my boyfriend, a 45-year-old male, for over a year now. When we first got together, it wasn't intended to be a long-term relationship, just a casual hookup. However, he ended up staying with me for a few days, which then turned into him moving in with me. The circumstances leading to this were that the friend he was living with went out of town, which I confirmed, and during that time I contracted COVID-19. As a result, he decided to quarantine with me for 2 weeks, which unfortunately led to him losing his job. It's worth mentioning that he does not have a driver's license due to a DUI. Therefore, I would always have to go pick him up. Eventually, he found himself unemployed and without a license, so we decided that he could stay with me since I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment. After a few months of living together, he started expressing a desire to accompany me everywhere and be involved in everything I did. At the time, I was working for a coffee shop owner and my boyfriend wanted to come to work with me because I was often bored, being the only employee and working alone 99% of the time. Unfortunately, he ended up causing trouble with my boss. This resulted in my boss wanting to change my contract to lower my pay, ultimately leading to me quitting my job. Currently, we have been working together for a grocery delivery service for almost a year. While it is convenient to have him with me, I could still manage the job without him, as everything is registered under my name. Essentially, the apartment lease, bills, job, and bank account are all in my name. He prefers to remain in the background and not take any responsibility for these matters. For months, I have been discussing with him our inability to sustain ourselves solely on this grocery delivery job and the necessity for both of us to seek additional employment. However, every time I bring it up, he becomes upset because he owes back child support, and having a regular job would mean they would deduct from his paycheck. Fed up with the situation, I started applying for jobs yesterday and told him that he also needed to explore ways to generate income, whether through informal jobs or other means. We are accumulating bills, and we need money to cover them. His proposed solution is to donate plasma and sell items on Etsy, as he is skilled at photographing cars. In my opinion, this is not sufficient because we need immediate money instead of relying on the uncertain outcome of online sales. Now he is angry at me because he believes that he won't earn anything if he gets a job. I explained to him that he has to face the consequences of his decisions if he wants to progress in life or improve our current living conditions. He argues that I am worried about money solely due to a few slow days at work, despite the fact that we are always barely making ends meet when it comes to paying rent at the end of each month. So, am I the asshole for wanting him to actively seek employment to contribute financially? It sounds like you've been carrying the financial burden for both of you for a while now, and it's completely understandable that you want him to contribute. It's unfair for him to rely on you to support him indefinitely, especially when you're struggling to make ends meet. Good on you for making the decision to apply for jobs and taking steps to improve your financial situation. My husband no longer wants kids and I'm devastated. I, 31 years old female, have been married to my husband John, 30 years old male, for 2 years. We always discussed the idea of having kids throughout our dating and engagement, and it seemed like we were on the same page about starting a family after being married for about a year. During our dating phase, John would often mention how he thought I would be a wonderful mother and share his dreams about future activities with our kids. We made several decisions in preparation for starting a family, such as buying a 4-bedroom house last year and choosing a car with a larger backseat for future car seats. I even chose a job with a school schedule to have more time for our kids eventually. It was a path we were heading towards. Around a year ago, when we initially planned to start trying for a baby, I stopped taking birth control and started taking prenatal vitamins, which I informed John about. However, we both agreed to wait a few more months to feel more settled in our new home and for me to adjust to my new job. This delay continued, but John continued to tell friends and family that we would have kids soon when asked. Many of his close friends and his brother already have young children, and he is great with them. One day in August of last year, when I brought up the baby conversation again, John agreed that we could start trying. He appeared both nervous and excited, sharing gender reveal videos and discussing potential names with me. I felt immense joy. However, just 1 week later, John dropped a bombshell on me. He admitted that he was no longer ready to have kids and wasn't even sure if he wanted them at all anymore. He accused me of pressuring him into it and claimed that he didn't have any specific reasons for not wanting children, except that he simply didn't want them. This news devastated me. It has been about 5 months since then, and he occasionally says that he might want kids someday, while other times he suggests he may never want them. I have become depressed and anxious due to the ticking biological clock. I find myself crying every day. My love for him doesn't feel the same, and I am starting to resent him. I have tried to have conversations with him to understand his perspective, as it seems like he got cold feet and is anxious and fearful about the reality of having children. However, he refuses to talk to me or anyone else. If I express my unhappiness, he offers no comfort. He acts as if everything is fine, even though I've explained how upset I am about the situation. I have shown him fertility and age charts while discussing the risks of pregnancy after the age of 35, and I've even begged him to reconsider. I sought help from a marriage counselor and attempted to work through my feelings on my own, but it hasn't been beneficial. John refuses to go to therapy or speak to anyone about our situation. I feel deeply hurt inside, and it seems like he either misled me about his intent to have children to get me to marry him, or he is disregarding my emotions completely. I am filled with fear that if I continue in this marriage for another 2 to 3 years, he will still be adamant about not having kids, leaving it too late for me to conceive the 2 to 3 children I have always envisioned. I am not financially stable enough to freeze my eggs, and the idea of IVF is unrealistic. I feel like I am being robbed of my desire to have children, yet I am unable to end our relationship because I doubt I would fall in love and marry another person in time to start a family. I feel trapped and don't know what steps to take next. I don't know how to understand what is going on in his mind. John is a notorious procrastinator and avoider, and I know this behavior is at play here. Can you offer any advice? I'm really sorry you're going through this. It sounds incredibly tough. It seems like you and John had discussed having kids extensively and made preparations for it together, so a sudden change of heart must be hard to deal with. It's important for you both to have open and honest communication about your desires for the future, even if it means seeking professional help. Remember to take care of yourself and prioritize your own happiness in this situation. Am I the antagonist for cooking for my brother and sister but nobody else? I am a 16-year-old guy, and I have a younger sister who is 14, and a younger brother who is 13. Our mom passed away 5 years ago, and since then, we have been living with our deadbeat father. I barely remember him because he was absent from our lives when my brother was still a baby. I saw him a couple of times from afar, but he did not provide child support or show any involvement in our lives. Our father got married again and was living with his wife and her kids when we came to live with them. His wife reminds me a lot of my father. She shows little interest in her own kids and spends as much time out of the house as my father does. Her kids are younger than my siblings and me, and they mostly rely on a babysitter. However, in the last couple of years, they have started staying at the house after school, just like my siblings and me. Taking care of her kids, I assume, is what their mother expects from me, but I only focus on my homework, my siblings, and ensuring we all have meals. Nothing else beyond that. My siblings also do not interact with her kids, who have gotten used to not being involved with us, although they have made attempts to be included in the past. I am responsible for cooking for my siblings and me. Among the 3 of us, I am the only one who really knows how to cook, although my siblings can handle basic tasks. My father never cooks, and his wife rarely cooks either. She often brings takeout home for herself and her kids, but she usually tells them to find something in the fridge. My paternal grandparents live nearby and visit us occasionally. I am not close to them and hardly know them. However, last week, while my siblings and I were having dinner, they criticized me for not making dinner for the other kids. They asked where the kids were, and I told them I assumed they were upstairs. They told me I should be bringing us all together and creating a sense of family, and that it's selfish to only cook for some people. I responded by saying that they are not my responsibility, and that I only take care of my own family. They argued that even though we are not family by blood, I could choose to support the kids, and at the very least, I should feed them since I know their mother is as neglectful as my father. I asked why it was my job, and they said it shows a special kind of cruelty to know that there are much younger kids around and not make any effort to feed or take care of them. They mentioned that they are in a similar situation to us, and we could all support each other. However, they do not feed the kids either, and they generally do not seem to care because the kids are not their grandchildren. This whole situation has made me wonder if I am in the wrong. I heard it again yesterday when my grandparents showed up once more. I am not sure why they come, but they never stay for long. So am I the asshole? It's understandable that you prioritize taking care of your siblings first and foremost, especially considering your past experiences with neglectful parents. It's not your responsibility to take care of your father's wife's kids, and it's unfair for your grandparents to shame you for not doing so. They should be directing their concerns towards the adults who should actually be responsible for those children. I have a crush on my boyfriend's older brother. My boyfriend and I have only been officially dating for a week or so. We started dating pretty quickly and became boyfriend and girlfriend after a little less than a month. I really like him and he is the nicest guy I've ever been with, but I also think I might really like his brother. Firstly, there is a detail that makes this situation even messier. My boyfriend and his older brother live together, so the brother will always be around. The first time I met his brother, I was surprised at how attractive I found him. I felt my heart skip a beat when our eyes locked. I figured this was normal. Of course you're gonna find good-looking people attractive. But when my boyfriend said I was his brother's type, my heart leapt. That didn't feel normal. Ever since the first interaction, I find myself hoping his brother will look at me or hoping he hears me talking to my boyfriend and finds me interesting. I notice myself having a lot more similarities with the brother than with my boyfriend: decorating style, music taste, personal hobbies, etc. The brother is artistic, clean-cut, and funny, all things I like. The brother also has better personal hygiene than my boyfriend, which I have always found extremely attractive. He takes care of himself in a way that's more extensive than my boyfriend. I don't know if it's because he's a bit older or if he just possesses qualities my boyfriend doesn't. Sometimes when I'm laying with my boyfriend, I think about what it would feel like to be laying with his brother. Even when we're intimate, sometimes I'll wonder how his brother feels, and I feel sick to my stomach about it. I feel so horrible knowing I think about anyone but him like that. I am definitely attracted to my boyfriend, but my mind still wanders when we do stuff sometimes. The worst part of all of this is that I don't think about any other men but my boyfriend. Ever. The only other man I think of is his brother. He's the only one that makes me wish I was single. This isn't even a purely sexual thing. When I think about why I like the brother, it's never because of any physical reasons, which I hate. Sometimes I wish I met him first so this could be easier. I tend to avoid the brother a lot when I'm at their house because I know how I feel about him, so I haven't interacted much with him since the first meeting. I care about my boyfriend so much and I don't ever want to hurt him. I can see myself being very happy with him. How do I stop liking his brother when I find so much to like about him? Hey up, it sounds like you're in a really tricky situation. It's understandable to find other people attractive even when you're in a relationship, but it becomes more complicated when it's your boyfriend's brother. Maybe try focusing on the qualities that you like about your boyfriend and strengthen your connection with him. It might also help to limit your interactions with the brother to avoid any further confusion. Ultimately, communication is key, so discussing your feelings openly and honestly with your boyfriend might be a good idea as well. Good luck. Husband thinks I am not doing enough. My husband believes I am not doing enough for the family. I am a 43-year-old university teacher and my schedule is fixed. Each term I must choose between the early shift, 8:45–12:30, or the later shift, 13:00–16:45. Our son, who is 4.5 years old, needs to be at school until 9 a.m. Since he leaves at 4 p.m., I choose the early shift so I can pick him up from school. My husband works at an advertising agency and has a more flexible schedule than me. Therefore, every weekday, I wake up at 6 a.m. to prepare breakfast for them and get ready for school. I also make sure our son's bag is packed with everything he needs for school and lay out his clothes before leaving home. All my husband needs to do is wake up, have breakfast with our son, help him get ready, and take him to school. He also has a car, making the 3-minute commute to school convenient. On the other hand, I rely on public transportation to get to work. After leaving school, I come home to clean and tidy up the house. I try to complete all the necessary chores for the day and also cook every day, ensuring that the fridge is always stocked. Additionally, I take our son from school in the afternoon and spend time playing with him at home. While he watches cartoons, I continue with the remaining chores. Around 6:30 p.m., I serve dinner for our son, and my husband usually arrives home at 8 p.m. to have his dinner. Sometimes, he helps our son with bathing and they spend time playing or watching something together. He occasionally puts our son to bed and participates in routine activities like reading a book or telling a story. Meanwhile, I clean up the kitchen. During weekends, I typically handle the chores again. Occasionally, my husband takes our son out for shopping or playing for 1–2 hours. When he returns home, he spends time resting in a room or playing video games. My husband earns 3 times more than I do, which I believe is why he thinks he doesn't have to contribute much at home. He believes I should do something extra to earn more money or rearrange my work schedule, which is impossible since I have explained to him multiple times that individual schedules are not possible at school. He feels that on weekends, he should have more time to relax or engage in activities he enjoys, which I support and have suggested he plan a night out with his friends. However, he never does so because he is not the social type. When I occasionally express that I have no time for myself, he insists that I work part-time and therefore have ample free time, accusing me of laziness. When I point out his lack of effort in putting dishes in the dishwasher, he believes it is my responsibility. He constantly complains about unfinished tasks at home, and because he takes our son to school in the morning, he believes he is doing more than he should. I have reached my limit with this situation. What do you think I should do? It sounds like you are already doing a lot for your family and household while juggling your teaching job. Your husband's expectations seem unfair, especially considering the wage disparity. It might be helpful to have an open and honest conversation with him to express how overwhelmed you feel and discuss finding a more balanced division of responsibilities. My GF will push my buttons or triggers until I get angry and react, and then she records my reactions to use against me. My partner and I have been together for a little over a year, and when things are good, they're great, but when they are bad, they get really bad. Over the past year, I've been dealing with some extreme anxiety, and I haven't been able to control my emotions very well. It's something that I've been working on with my therapist and adjusting my medications. I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and an anxiety disorder. Recently, I was on a work trip and really missed her. The morning I was coming back home, I let her know that I wasn't feeling good mentally. As I was heading home, she had a doctor's appointment that got canceled because we couldn't cover the cost of the appointment. We live together, and since we've been dating, I've been the only one working and handling all the bills. She got upset about the canceled appointment, and I got a barrage of text messages about a host of problems that went from money to my friends and family and how upset and done she was. This was right before I arrived home. When I got home, I didn't really feel like talking about the text because I still didn't feel well mentally, but I did everything else to show that I cared. I went and got food and tried to cheer her up. And to some degree, it worked. We held each other and ended up taking a nap. When I awoke from the nap, she was very upset about the fact that I slept. She had a big attitude, and when I asked if I had done anything wrong, she got even more upset. I apologized for sleeping, and she went into a tirade about how I haven't done anything for her, how I didn't feed the dog, how I didn't cook, how childish my apology was. This happened right after I woke up, and because of past trauma, I have a lot of issues about waking up to arguments or fights. I started trying to pack some things to leave the room and go downstairs as she was ranting, but I could feel my anxiety going through the roof. I kept asking her if she could stop, long enough for me to grab some things and leave, but she refused to stop. I even told her that I was on the brink of exploding and pleaded with her to stop, but she kept egging me on. She kept pushing my buttons and refused to stop. And when I finally lost it and there was no domestic violence, she started recording my reaction. This isn't the first time she's done this. After I calm down, she sends me the videos and then blames me for the entire interaction based on the videos she's taken. I asked so many people about this, and they say that this is a form of gaslighting and manipulation. But I want to know what you guys think. Am I gaslit or manipulated? Damn, that sounds really tough. It definitely sounds like your partner is being manipulative and gaslighting you. Recording your reaction and then blaming you for everything is a major red flag. It might be worth talking to your therapist about it and considering some serious conversations with your partner about boundaries and respect. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.